the meeting to order. Good evening, everyone. In accordance with the South Carolina Freedom of Information Act, Section 30-4-80E, South Carolina Code 1987, as amended, all the media in the immediate area have been notified of the date, time, location, and agenda of our meeting. We'll have our prayer by Mr. Govan, followed by the pledge with Mr. Jeffords.
Let us bow our heads. Heavenly Father, it's again that we come to ask for your directions and your guidance. We ask that you would direct and guide us as we make decisions that are in the best interest of our children and the citizens of Darlington County. We ask, God, that you would provide traveling mercies for us as we return back to our respective homes. This we ask in your name. Amen.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'll take a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved. Second.
All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Do we have some people signed up for the citizens' comments? And let me just read this before we begin the comment section. The first 30 minutes of the monthly meeting will be set aside for 3-minute input sections for citizen participation. Participation will be approved on a first-come, first-talk basis as recorded on the log which is provided. Public input should be in the form of suggestions, information, or comments pertaining to programs, schools, or the school district. Based on legal advice of our council, comments should not be made either complimentary or critical, or naming any student, school employee, administrator, or board member, as these matters are personnel matters that require an executive session. Speakers' comments will be received only as board information. Start that off, we have Ms. Tori Taylor.
Apologies, I thought I'd have time to go home and change first, so if I have a trail of sawdust, okay. I really don't like microphones, but I am here as a representative of the faculty of DCIT, and we are here in regards to the director being named. I'd like to start with policy BBA, board powers and duties. Under operational action, this is quotes. The board is responsible for evaluating the effectiveness of its policies and the implementation of its policies. The board will appraise the superintendent's recommendations and act on each proposal in the district's best interest. The board will not hold the superintendent accountable for furnishing, the board will hold the superintendent accountable for furnishing complete information necessary for the board's evaluation. We want to make sure this was done. And question, was it done? Sure. Policy BA, school board operational goals. The board is committed to the education and success of all students. The board will function in a nonpartisan, open-minded manner, and each member will allow his or her consideration for the entire district to take precedence over every form of partisanship and special interest, and it lists several. Each board member will look to the future to provide the best possible educational program to address the educational needs of the students in the district, and will be charged with accomplishing this task while also being responsible for wise management of district resources. Are you when you make this decision? The board, as a primarily legislative body, will concern itself with the board questions of policy rather than administrative details, which will be the responsibility of the superintendent. The board will carry out its functions openly while seeking the involvement and the contributions of the public, students, and staff in its decision-making process. What happens when these conflict? Number 3, policy GBB, staff involvement in the decision-making. The board believes that a school system functions best when all personnel are informed of the organization's major activities and goals. The board encourages recommendations and suggestions from all employees of the district on any phase of the district's operation, A free exchange of ideas designed to improve the district system creates an atmosphere that allows the board to seek the best ideas from everyone involved in the district schools. If the development of policies affecting the system, the administration may seek the judgment and counsel of appropriate personnel before recommending such policies to the board whenever practical and appropriate. We do not believe this was done effectively. A survey was sent, that is true. Only one person from our staff was selected. This person was not identified to the rest of the faculty until after the interviews. This gave us no time to send thoughts and concerns. She wasn't allowed to speak to us about the process. This and other factors lead us to believe the survey was a mediocre attempt to appease us. We believe the person best suited for the director lies within our own walls, but we're not sure this was properly conveyed to the board. Unless the candidate for approval is our own, we ask that you table this until we can provide you a full picture. The one complaint of teachers is about not being heard. This is a problem throughout the nation. I'm asking you to please hear us. Don't continue to be part of the problem, but be part of the solution. Thank you.
Ms. Taylor. Now I have Miss Carrie West.
This, but yeah. I don't think I need a microphone because I have a big mouth.
Got teacher voice?
And I got that teacher and the nurse voice. So, I teach health science at DCIT, so I came obviously dressed in this is what I teach in, okay? I'm going to kind of piggyback off what Tori Taylor was saying, and it's just kind of from all of us at DCIT. So good morning, or good afternoon, excuse me, good evening to the board members. Thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight. This is a pivotal matter in the future of our career institute, the selection of our next principal, or administrator as we call it. Our institute, DCIT, is not a traditional high school, okay? We teach careers. We teach technical trades that supply well-prepared, qualified graduates to our region and to industry partners. These industry partners, they depend on these programs, okay? We have to answer to them. If there's something that we don't do right as teachers, they're going to come back to us and say, why are you not teaching this correctly? So we have the infrastructure, the program, and the vision to prepare students for the meaningful careers in the rapid changing job market. We are constantly learning how to get these kids out into the workforce. That is our goal. What we need now is a leader who's going to unify our strengths, inspire our faculty, and ensure our students are not only educated, but empowered. A principal is more than an administrator. They are the heartbeat of the school. That is the truth. The right candidate, they're going to set a clear academic and vocational direction aligned with industry needs. That means they're going to have to go out and actually see what is needed in the industries, not just one industry, not just in the nursing industry, but in all industries. They're going to have to foster partnerships with local businesses and our organizations, create real-world opportunities. That's what we really need these kids to focus on. We want to cultivate a culture of excellence and accountability among staff and students. Champion innovation in teaching so our graduates remain competitive in the workforce. And so far we have not had an issue with the competitiveness of our students coming out. Okay, our graduates usually they go on to a four-year college or they use their trade they learned at DCIT and they get a job. They're in the workforce. We respectfully ask that you postpone the meeting or the decision of the principal or the administrator that you guys have chosen and just kind of take a day and come visit DCIT and see what all we teach. We are not normal teachers. I did not go to school to be a teacher. That is not what I went to school to do. I went to school to be a nurse. I'm also a business person, so I understand business and I understand the nursing side of it. But we would like you to consider postponing the decision and just come visit one day. Visit with faculty, talk to the students, just kind of get a brief illustration of what's going on at DCIT. We need somebody who is a CAT employee or CATE employee aligned. They know what CATE means. In other words, the career and technical education. Okay, that's a big deal for us. There are certain things within the scope of practice, I guess, well, we call it scope of practice in the nursing field, that we can do, that CAT teachers or CATE teachers can do that other teachers can't. So I really am begging you guys to just please just postpone it. Come visit us. Let's talk. I know you guys have probably been interviewing, and yes, there is a candidate that we have in mind, and I'm sure y'all have one in mind too. But the candidate that we very well have selected and was hoping, anyway, she has made measurable impact. She's strengthened our instruction, she supports student growth. She is very seen in the hallways. The students know her. They know her. They're comfortable with her. She's also very experienced in CATE education, okay? And that's a big deal, especially for us coming from the industry going into teaching. I have no idea, like I told you, I have no idea how to teach. I am still learning. I learn every single day. Just as a nurse, I learn every single day. But we really would like for you guys to just postpone it and please just come see what we do here at DCIT. Because I think there's some, I don't know if it's negative light or not, I'm not sure. I'm just getting some negative energy towards what we do at DCIT. Okay, we are actually putting out graduates that are going to work. They're going into the work field. They're being successful. They're going to Newport. They're going to Sunoco. They're going to McLeod. And we're working with these industries one-on-one. And if we don't have a leader that's not going to support that and know what they need to do, then we're going to be in trouble. And that scares me personally as an educator, okay? Because number one, and I hate to say this, but I can make more money in the industry field, but I choose to teach these children because I want them to be better than what we have right now. Okay, I know there's a need for it. Like there is a need for example, we teach CNAs and Ms. Flowers back there teaches MAs. We want them to have a different view of the world like we see it. Like I want them to learn how to take care of patients like I take care of them. Holistically, which means mind, body, and soul. And I want them to take care of them in a professional manner. And so far we have not had that problem at DCIT. But I feel if we get a principal or administrator who is not CAT certified or have any experience, we're going to be in trouble. So we invite you just to come out, just visit, okay? Just keep an open mind and visit us and just see what all we have to offer. All right, thank y'all. Thank y'all for listening to my rambling and my country voice. I'm sorry.
Thank you, Ms. West. Appreciate it. All right, we'll move on to our, there's no one else on the list, we'll move on to our Top Schools Attendance Achievement Awards. Mr. Schuler.
Good evening, Madam Chair, board members. I have the opportunity and privilege to recognize our top 3 schools as well as most improved. But before we recognize those individuals, I want to share that all the schools have been working extremely hard. Obviously, we have a 3% goal as it relates to chronic absenteeism, preliminary data. And I want to share that with you right now, but preliminary data shows that we're well on our way to surpass that. However, it's based upon the hard work and effort of individuals that we're going to recognize this evening. We started and changed the grouping, so we'll first recognize the first group of schools under 400 students. We had a very tight race between 2 of our schools. However, the school that came out on top was Carolina Elementary School, and we asked that they calm down, and they have been the winners since the start of this and very since November, and she brought her trophy as well. We have Miss Dana White representing Carolina. Congratulations. And we also have a certificate. All right, our next group is schools between 400 and 700 students. And the trophy has shifted this month. And the winners this month is none other than North Hartsville Elementary. Come on down with 95.7. We have representing Ms. Graham, our social worker, Ms. Sturkey, our student data manager, and the lovely Ms. Wofford. All right, and our schools with 700 more students, we have a repeat winner. And in that group, that winner is Dr. James at Hartsville Middle School.
That's right.
She still has the trophy. And
I guess
she
you're
was
not
trying to
giving it
take
up.
the most
I'll
improved
bet.
trophy.
Thank you.
This next group is the most improved. They gained nearly 0.2 of a point from the beginning of November. I spoke with the principal today, kind of invited his team. This most improved goes to Hartsville High School, Mr. Lewis, Mr. Wilbur Bishop, and also Ms. Graham, a social worker, works with North Hartsville and Hartsville High. Congratulations.
We've got some consent items. Our next Board of Education meeting is our work session, which will be February 23rd at 6 p.m. here in the training room, or there in the training room. And then our next regular board meeting will be March the 9th here in this room, also at 6 p.m. We've got adult ed admissions. Can I get a motion to approve the adult ed admissions? Can- All in favor? Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Do we want to do all the minutes together, or do you want to break them out? We have minutes for our January 5th special call meeting, January the 12th, which was our regular meeting, and January the 28th, which was our work session.
Madam Chair, I move that we accept all three together, January 5th, January 12th, and January 28th minutes.
Second.
All in favor? Anyone opposed? Motion carries. We've got policy items. We have second reading for a couple policies. We have policy DKC, which is our expense authorization and reimbursement policy, and then we also have the organizational chart. Do we want to do these together? I'll accept a motion.
I move we approve policy DKC and policy CCA.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion. Dr. Ferguson, did you want to speak to the organizational chart?
Yes, just to point out some minor changes from first reading to second reading, the first being a change in the name of the Chief Administrative Officer. When we were talking, we would have two CAOs in that case, and so the name was changed to the Chief Schools Officer. The duties would still be the same. And then the other was a change in the position for the Director of Federal Programs. That position will now be called the Director of Student Services and Federal Programs, and it would be a position that our counselors or our social workers and our family school facilitators would report to, and also our mental health counselors. So those positions would report up through the Director of Student Services and Federal Programs.
Any questions about either of those for Dr. Ferguson? Okay. All in favor? Anyone opposed? Motion carries. We've got our budget report. Ms. Douglas, I'll let you take that one.
Good evening. You have the report for December in front of you. As you see, our revenues are still less than our expenditures, but January is the first month that we will receive tax revenue, so it looks typical for our normal December. I'll tell you that we have started the paperwork. It's been in progress for the new budget for next year. We've already scheduled meetings with the directors and the principals. Dr. Ferguson, Dr. Nichols, Dr. Hersey, and I will be meeting with each of them, so we've already got the ball rolling on that. The only thing that's really come out of the State Department is that would be a change is right now the version they're looking at is showing a 2,000 per cell increase to the teacher scale. That's for the state minimum. We're already above the state minimum, so we're putting together a forecast to mirror that and have some other options depending on what our numbers look like. So that's where we are. Did anybody have any questions on the budget reports?
I have one question.
Yes, sir.
Has there been any discussion in your meetings since we are at the at the base salary already of compensating those districts somehow? You see what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. We there haven't been any change. They've tweaked and worked on the funding formula, so it's not really exactly like it used to be. Our funding is based on the number of students and the number of teachers we need for the ratio that they use, which I think is 11 to 1, 11 point something to 1. So there's been no change in that. But we get news. We get an update each week from people that are checked there at the legislative meetings.
Because I just think that budgetarily, we are the losers, if you will.
I agree. We voiced that opinion many times. So we will look at the scenario. We will try to, we've started out with 2,000 in our model, but we'll look at different scenarios. We have it where we can gauge what we can do, and then we'll bring it to you for you to decide.
And Mr. Govan, I do know that there is discussion around some recommendations from Mr. Rainwater to change the allocation from how the expenditures are calculated versus how the expenditures are distributed, and to bring those to the same formula, and to also tweak some of how the allocations treat the benefits portion of the salary. So we would be winners in that equation, but we would not make up in that the difference between what you're saying is since we pay more, we should get a little more.
What I'm saying is, if we are already paying 50,000, and the state decides to go to 50,000, then if there was a $2,000 increase to get to the 50, then that 2,000 ought to be reimbursed, if you will, back to the district. So then realistically, we could say we were going to give you 52 opposed to 50 or 51.
The amount that they reimburse us for is based on the number of teachers they calculate that we need, and it's based on an average base teacher salary, and they have a cutoff, I think it's 12 years. So it will go up So our numbers would increase, but it wouldn't be one-to-one.
Because they give us, it's 12 years and a master's is how they calculate the teacher's salary and the reimbursement.
Well,
Okay.
I agree 100% with you, Mr. Covan. The only thing is, I think this board has been consistent in our desire to be the highest starting salary for teachers in the PD region. And I think we've done a good job of maintaining that, and I would like to see that continued if possible.
So can I just add, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, for anybody that's listening to this conversation and they're like, what the heck are they talking about? Basically, you know, when you hear you correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm just going to try to like make it a little simpler. So basically what I've learned is that when the politicians talk about raising teachers' salaries and they say we're going to, raise teacher salaries by $2,000, that's for districts that aren't currently paying that, basically, right? They want to make sure everybody in the state is starting at the same point. So we, as a district, have been paying more than that. So we, as a district, have to cover it if we want to give you an increase. It's not being paid for by the state. So the politicians say we gave you $2,000 more, but the board is who, and our local taxes is what actually helps when we're able to try to give you more each year. We aren't guaranteed that we can give you $2,000 because we're already paying more than that. The state's not going to give it to us. Then she comes to us with a recommendation of what she thinks we can do with the tax revenue that we have, and then we evaluate that to decide if we can give you a raise. So is that basically sum it up?
That is, we will get some increase just because the average salary will go up when they increase the scale, but we won't get a one-to-one increase.
So we'll get some of that,
We'll
but
get
not the
some.
whole 2,000.
Yeah, not all of it.
All right, thank you, ma'am. Appreciate it. Got our action items. Our first action item is our board meeting dates for 2026 through 2027.
Sports program.
Pardon?
E-sports program.
What? No, sir. That was on one version, but the one we finally,
That's the first one I took printed.
Not on mine.
Not on yours?
Not on mine.
Okay. I don't mind.
So we cover that. Okay. Back to the board meeting dates, 2026, 2027. Can I get a motion to approve those dates?
Madam Chair, I move we approve those dates.
Second,
I second.
all in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Now we have our high school diploma applications. Can I get a motion to approve those?
I move we approve them.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. And this brings us to our academic calendars. Ms. Childress, do you want to lead off this conversation?
Want to?
Ms. Childress, would you please lead off this conversation?
It's my favorite time of the year, what can I say? We actually have 3 calendars to bring to you tonight. The first is this year's calendar, and then we're going to talk about next year's calendar. This year's calendar, the 25-26 calendar, we are modifying, or asking the board to modify so that we can have parent-teacher conferences in the evening of March 12th, and then March 13th will be an inclement weather makeup day. You may remember that many years ago, we used to do parent-teacher conferences in the evenings. We started doing that again this year with the fall semester, and it's been very well received, and so we wanted to continue to do that. So we're bringing with you the March 12th change and then the March 13th inclement weather makeup day. Then for 26 and 27, we also want to continue the parent-teacher conferences in the evening, and hopefully that changed. Hopefully, we want to bring you the parent-teacher conferences in the evening of the March 11th. No, excuse me. First, we're starting in the first semester, October 1st. And then October 2nd would be a half-day professional development. March 11th will be a parent-teacher conferences after a normal school day. And then March 12th will be a half-day professional development. Originally on this calendar, March 15th was our professional development day, but we went ahead and moved March 15th to March 12th so that we could accommodate the parent-teacher conferences on Thursday night and the professional development on March 12th. So we need to, those are the two that need to be modified.
Okay.
You want me to
And
move
to
on?
walk
Well,
through
so-
that, just one to make clear, is we have at this point missed 3 days due to inclement weather. And so the teachers came on Tuesday for half a day. The half a day in the evening of Thursday, March the 12th, would be the other half day of professional development, because teachers are 190-day contracted employees. 180 of those days are student days. 10 of those days are professional development days. So if we were to do a inclement weather day on February 16th, an inclement weather day on February 17th, and then also on March the 13th, that takes care of our 3 missing school days. And then that Thursday night, half a day would be professional development, and half of the day on Tuesday during the snow would be the other half-day professional development. Teachers and students would have made up all their contractual time, and we would meet all the requirements of what is required for a school year for students and teachers.
Thank you, I meant to do that, I apologize, thank you.
No worries.
All right, so that is the 25th, 26th school year, the 2025-26 school year, the 26-27 school year. And then we are also bringing to you tonight the 27-28 school year. This is unusual in that we have a leap year, a leap day in there, so we have an extra day in there. And we are not required to close on election days when it's not a general election. So midterm election, we're not required to close. That gives us 2 days to kind of play with. And so what we've done this year for 27-28 is add those 2 days into our Thanksgiving break. So for once, we have a full week at Thanksgiving. Now, the disclaimer is, I don't know that we can do this every year. It won't be leap year every year, and we will have years of general election. However, we were able to make that happen. It is pretty consistent otherwise. We have our parent-teacher conferences in there. We have professional development days to meet the requirements. We are having that first week off in October, the first week in October, and the second full week of February off again for schools being closed and students and teachers. And so we bring to you this calendar. We did send it out to our employees for feedback. We actually sent out 2. This is the one that received the overwhelming approval. 88% voted on, gave the feedback that this would be the one that they would prefer. With that the 5 days of Thanksgiving being one of the top reasons, they were very, very excited about that. So this is the calendar that I bring to you tonight.
I have one question.
Yes.
The election day, we're not closing. Do we have any polling places in our schools anymore? I know we worked to move some of those things around. So we will, does that mean we'll have students on campus when we have elections going on in our schools?
Potentially.
Yeah.
And this is 2 years out, so there's time to work on if all of our schools are needed as polling places, and also how to structure where on the campus that occurs, so that there is not as much opportunity like there is currently. We could place them in places where there would not be interaction.
Okay. I mean, as long as we're working toward a plan to make sure that safety is first on those days, because I know that's been a concern for us in the past.
Right.
So I'd say go ahead and start trying to figure that out, because if we do want to, I know there has been some work with the Elections Commission to move some of those polling places out of schools for safeties, and I don't know where we're at with some of that, but I'd like to see us continue that work.
The questions I ask every year are just, have you had contact with the neighboring districts, because we have employees who come from other parts that work in this district. And I think we have to be very cognizant of that when we start talking about the days, because what you don't want is the teachers have to be out and the kids are in school in another district, or vice versa. And I know that Florence, I know that no longer, I think we've kind of taken a lead in doing that.
Yes, yes. We try to be consistent in planning our calendar. We try to be mindful, recognizing how they usually do certain weeks and days, so that we are close to it. But the fact remains, we put our calendar out before they do. And so we do send it to them so that they have it to reference as they're planning their calendars.
And the only reason I bring that up, I really think that employees need to understand that we put forth that effort, and we've been doing it for the 25 years I've been on this board. But we have not always gotten, and you didn't say that, I'm saying it, we have not always gotten the cooperation, if you will. And so that's one of the reasons why we've taken the lead. But I think many of the employees don't understand, that, and they get upset when it's really nothing we can do about it. And that's why I bring it up.
We do, I sit there and I look and I do my best to try to match so that we have similar patterns. It doesn't always match up, but we've made an effort to do so. And we will, as soon as it's approved, again, share with our neighboring districts.
Can I, and Dr. Ferguson, I'm going to get you to speak to this, because I'm getting lots of questions, and I just think we have a definitive answer. There's a lot of questions about e-learning days and why the e-learning days can't be on the day that the snow happens. And we are doing e-learning days on the inclement weather days.
Ms. Hassler, you took one of my bullets for my superintendent update. But thank you while we're on the calendar. I'll go right there. So, couple of things. One is many children do not have the opportunity to have a snow day. And so it is about recognizing that, I have a 7-year-old at home. She had never seen snow before. And so to think about her not being able to play in the snow and instead do worksheets is problematic. The second piece of that is I think what a lot of districts do, it requires a lot of stress on teachers because teachers are working Thursday night and they find that we are going to e-learning on Friday, or they are Sunday going to e-learning on Monday. And so there is a pretty quick turnaround between I've got to worry about what I'm doing on this inclement weather and I've got to do something productive to send home to kids to do asynchronously. I think another way to look at that is, Florence. I'm friends with many teachers in Florence who have to be on synchronously, and so they were holding Zoom meetings during those inclement weather days. And a lot of the teachers said, it's not fair for you to expect me to show up on Zoom, to show up in a classroom virtually while my students are at home and they're trying to navigate teaching and learning in the next room beside me. And then you also compound that with, during many of our inclement weather days, particularly around ice, etc., there are students and teachers who do not have power. And so we are expecting adults and students to log onto a computer, complete an assignment when there may be power outages across the county. And so when e-learning was first thought of, it was to say that if we have an inclement weather situation or we have something that causes us to close school, what we will do is be closed on that day. We will schedule an e-learning day into the future. That gives both students and teachers the time to develop something that is meaningful, that is new instruction, that provides value to students. They develop that lesson and they deploy it on that future e-learning day. And that is what we have been working to do in these instances. Give the kids the weather day. Go play in the snow. Have fun with your families. If you don't have power, that's okay. Take care of your families. We will make up the schoolwork at a future date. And it also allows us to make sure that that learning is meaningful, that students are getting something out of it. And in this particular instance, every school district should have inclement weather days, 3 of those built into their calendar in the future. And so that's what we use in those instances. It is an attempt both to say to kids, to teachers, to families on those days where there's a disruption, don't worry about school. We will purposely plan for that event in the future and provide meaningful instruction on those days. But I'll also be honest and say I don't think that there are e-learning activities in large that replace the face-to-face instructions that happen in our classrooms every day. So where possible, I don't think we should do e-learning. I think we should do face-to-face in classrooms with real teachers, because that's who teaches, not worksheets, not handouts.
Any questions further? All right, I'll take a motion to accept the revisions for our 25-26, 26-27 calendars, and to accept the calendar that was presented to us for 27-28. Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. We've got our calendars.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Childers. Appreciate it. And that brings us to our Hall of Fame. Dr. Ferguson, you want to lead this one?
So during our work session, we were able to share with you the names of our nominees who were selected through our application process. And this is just to take an official vote on those nominations and to create our inductees for this year's Hall of Fame. We are still working on a date. As some of you know, we have some very important folks who are being inducted into our Hall of Fame, and so we're trying to make sure that we have a date where all of our inductees can be present. And so it looks like we're looking at an April date for that event, but we are still working on calendars to be able to finalize that. But this is the official selection of those nominations and slate, and we will come back to you as soon as a date is firmed up.
All right, then I will take a motion to approve the final roster for the 2026 Darlington County School District Hall of Fame.
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Dr. Ferguson, I know I jump-started the calendar question, but I'm going to lead to your update now.
Great, so welcome back. It has been a fast and furious few weeks with snow and all the things we have going on. But during that time, Audrey and Chris were able to put together another excellent video that I want to share with y'all that highlights our GT programming and the partnership that we have with several folks around building our race cars. So I want to make sure we shared that video.
Racing Towards Excellence is an exciting new partnership between Darlington County's Alert, Gifted and Talented program and the Darlington County Institute of Technology. Thanks to generous support from North Industrial, Darlington County Progress, and Darlington Raceway, 5th grade GT students from across the district are visiting DCIT and Darlington Raceway throughout the year for a one-of-a-kind learning experience. Across 7 visits, students are exploring the history and business of racing, the science that drives performance, and the role technology plays in shaping the future of motorsports. Now they're putting that knowledge into action, designing, building, and customizing their very own remote control race cars. Working alongside DCIT teachers and students, these young innovators are gaining hands-on experience in problem solving, engineering, and teamwork. And the excitement doesn't stop here. Once their cars are complete, students will race to determine the winning team, with awards and recognitions announced during a special ceremony at the Darlington Raceway. This is Racing Towards Excellence, where learning meets innovation and students are racing toward a brighter future.
So I think that's another great example of excellence in teaching and learning, and why we are not just a choice, but the best choice often for families in Darlington County. That's a great example of a partnership between our GT program, our teachers at DCIT, North Industrial, Darlington Progress, and the Raceway. It gives our students, our fifth grade students, an opportunity to go to DCIT and explore those pathways on a regular basis. And all of the feedback that we've gotten from both the parents, the students, and the faculty is that the kids are really enjoying that partnership, and I wanted to take a moment tonight to be able to share that with you so that we can, again, show why we're not just a choice, we are the best choice for so many in Darlington County. My update is pretty quick at this point. I wanted to make sure that all of you knew that we continue to have registration for our 4K and 5K students. That closes February 23rd, so if you know of anyone who has a child who will be 4 or 5 on or before September 1st, those registrations are currently underway, and we are looking forward to having full 4K and 5K classrooms next school year. We also have expanded choice applications currently open, and so if there are parents within the county who are looking to go to a school for which they are not zoned, now is the time to apply for those opportunities for us to evaluate next year based on space. And then I wanted to give out a shout out to our HR department, Dr. Hersey, Dr. Mason, for having a great event this past Saturday at Mayo. All the principals, assistant principals, and staff who were able to come to that event. It was really great to see everybody in the same room, happy on a Saturday morning, selling folks on the idea of how great it is to be an employee and a part of Darlington County School District, where we do pay the highest starting teacher salary in the PD. And at that career fair, Dr. Mason, Dr. Hersey, the HR team has been actively recruiting for that. We had over 100 participants who came to that event, over 20 folks who are traditionally certified educators, over 20 folks who are alternatively certified educators, and more than 50 folks who are interested in our classified position. So all in all, a great event. I want to give a shout out and thanks to the board members who were able to show up on a pretty cold Saturday morning, early Saturday morning, to show why Darlington County is a great place to work, because it wasn't just the principals and the assistant principals showing up. It was also our board members who were showing that we are all part of a big family here in Darlington County. And then I was going to talk about e-learning, but y'all have heard that spiel. But again, I want to stress we have now sent out to both staff and parents the rationale. We let families know at the beginning of the year that if we were going to have an inclement weather day, enjoy that time with your family. We would not be having school on those days, that we would plan something purposely for the future. And so we are well underway in that process. I think by the end of the week, all of those materials will have been reviewed by the staff at the schools. They will be made available on the computers through Schoology to all of the students. Students will have the following week to complete that assignment. They'll complete it before they come back on that Tuesday following the winter break. Faculty are going to be available for an hour and a half each day for office hours on that Monday and Tuesday in case students have questions about their assignments, but they'll also be going over that this week. And so we really anticipate that those e-learning inclement weather makeup days will be meaningful, that they will move us towards excellence in teaching and learning, and that we will be better as a result of those days. It won't just be a makeup day where we're doing busy work or making up assignments that were missed in class. It will be a true instructional day. So, Madam Chair, with that wraps up my update.
Anyone have any questions for Dr. Ferguson? All right, we'll start with board member input. Ms. Carreri, have any input?
Can we come back to me?
We certainly can.
Thank you.
Ms. Gore?
I was just writing something for here. I would just like to thank the schools that are continually winning the awards for attendance. I think that's a good thing that you all are doing. We appreciate it. Hartsville Middle School, you're hanging in there pretty good. So I appreciate you, Dr. James, and all the other schools that are doing very well on that. Also, I had opportunity to talk to some of the parents in the district, which I hadn't did in a while, but I had a chance to actually talk to some of the parents. And I want the parents that really show up for the children. I want to say thank you all for what you all doing for your children and other children as well, because I didn't realize some of the things that the parents were doing, and some of them were providing water for the athletic department for the kids, and I had even one person to tell me that they even make sure some of the children their uniforms are washed. They're buying them tennis shoes and everything for that. And I just want to thank you all for your kindness and that you're not going to overlook. But when I find out things that you're doing to support the students, I just want you to know we appreciate it here at this board. And also, the career fair, I got there a little late, but what I saw was excellent. And Dr. Mason and Dr. Hersey, y'all just did such a beautiful job. And I just like y'all's spirit, how y'all just pour yourselves in doing what you're doing. And just your personality just makes it so well just to come to and see how happy you are doing the work that you do and that you love what you're doing. So I thank you all for that very good career fair. And I've heard good results in the community. I've heard a lot of people talk about how well it was organized and performed. So thank you all for making the district look good. And what else I had to say? I'm also concerned, Dr. Ferguson and I talked about it a little bit. I'm really concerned right now about the conduct at some of these games. We got to deal with that. That's the issue we got to talk about. And I'm really concerned about the conduct that's being taken place. We do have a policy in place for that, but let's try to work with those schools and try to give them some support and help, because we got to stop this. We got to stop this conduct being taken place at these athletic games, and we got to talk about it. We can't push it up under the table. It's a very issue that we need to discuss, and we need to find some type of solution to try to help to curtail these things that are being taken place right now. Some things we just have to deal with, and everything is not always good sometimes, but we are hoping that we can find a solution for this conduct being taken place at our athletic activities. So we as a board, we're concerned about that as well. We're concerned about school safety and children's safety all the time, during school hours and on our premises at all times. And I think that's about what I wanted to talk about with y'all. Oh, also, I want to thank the Communications Department, Ms. Childers, and thank you all for putting that out about the board and what we thought about our positions here and how we take what we do and how important it is to our job that we do here, and that everyone had the opportunity to give their own individual thoughts of how they feel about public school systems. And as I said, that public schools is the foundation of our community, because we are building leaders for tomorrow. And I was really happy that I got a very good response from the public, and they got the opportunity to know how we feel about the job that we do and how important we take what we do. It's very important, because every decision we make affects a child. Every decision that's made here is going to affect the staff. It's going to affect the whole school as a whole. And thank your communication department for putting us on news and press on Facebook. I thought I was a celebrity. I was getting out there. I said, well, thank you all for so much, for thinking of us as a board. We appreciate that you know how we feel about a lot of things. So thank you all for what y'all do for us to make us feel good too. Thank you.
Please.
Mm-hmm.
Ms. Thompson.
I was just going to thank Ms. Douglas and the finance all you guys do. I look at your reports every month, and your diligence and attention to detail really just makes us able to do the things that we do. And talking about, can we give raises and how's that gonna look? I mean, we take that stuff really seriously, and we're going into this next budget season, and thank you for all the preparation work that you're doing, to make sure that we use our resources wisely and do everything that we possibly can to support our community. So, thank you.
Mr. Jeffords?
That's it? Nate, how are we coming on our audit firm? We have any,
Well, I'm waiting to hear back, say a little prayer, so I have reached out to several and made our case to try to pick up a good firm to help us. Most of them have a full calendar, so I did my best sales pitch, and I'm waiting for responses, so.
so hopefully we will find someone eventually, right?
We will find someone, yeah. We just, I got recommendations from my peers on, who does theirs and in the area, and there's only a handful of firms that still do them, so, but anyway,
Yeah.
Our report looks good, so I'm hopeful. I was waiting on one that they were gonna meet with their partners and let me know something, so.
Okay.
I will let you know as soon as I know.
All right. I'm sure. Okay. Just like to thank a lot of people, got a lot of passion as far as different position we hire. I'd like to thank everyone for their input. Not saying everyone will always be happy with what we do, and because we probably aren't all the time. We make the best decision we can with what we have. And but I do appreciate the input and the passion that people have. And that's what it's all about. So I appreciate that. And I know the career fair was a success, and are we still moving along as far as vacancies, or?
It's funny you should ask, because you don't ever ask that question.
I know.
I told you about
I came prepared.
about the.
I can always depend on, it feels like old times. We have 12 vacancies for the current school year. Of those, 6 of those are really in a holding pattern. And when you look for next year, 26, 27, we have 12 vacancies. So you have to look at both years. It's that time. We're holding 6 of those. Why? Because we're still looking at allocations. We're looking at student count. So, and then the other thing is to hold on to a couple of those, because we can be pretty creative with some of those, especially where our elementary children may need some undergirding of a different type. We can go creative with some of those. So we have 12 for next year, 12 for the current year. We have some great contacts that came as a result of the recruitment fair, so we'll be looking at some of those. Right now, we're in that process of looking at the essential positions for next year, looking at student count, looking at how our students are performing, and where can we lend greater support? What form would that take? So we're in a good position right now, better than 5 years ago, 6 years ago when I was in this position. So we've got a lot of options. And Saturday was a good day for taking a look at some new faces and seeing a lot of folks who are interested in coming to teaching positions.
Okay.
This is good.
Thank you.
Well, the only thing I would say is, first of all, I do appreciate employees for always, not always, but expressing their concerns. But I'm like Warren. We do what we do the best we can based on our responsibilities, our guidelines as to what we are elected to do, and in trying to make sure that this district stays in compliance and continues to be one of the best districts in the state. Renee, to follow up, so if you, I know there's a shortage of auditors. I've had the same conversation from the state level. What's plan B?
We're gonna find somebody. Yeah, it's.
I mean, I'm you know.
I'm confident. I'm going to find somebody. Somebody's gonna do it before the deadline. I can assure you of that.
Well, I'm gonna say like Wanda. I don't just want somebody, because I don't want to be in the clippings.
No.
I don't want to be any clippings.
We're not gonna
You don't have to
be.
worry about that.
No, there's still, I mean, there's a good many firms, there's just,
Okay.
we're looking at high quality, we want somebody to come in and give us some good input. If I got to go through that exercise, I want it to be somebody that's gonna do a good job.
Thank you.
So that's why I've asked for references, I mean,
We are vetting them as much as they are vetting us at this
yes,
point.
yes, amen.
I got great confidence.
That's it.
Ms. Carrere?
Yes, I'd just like to comment on the career fair. I couldn't have been more impressed. I visited every single table. I couldn't believe the way they were decorated, and the staff in every one of the, for every one of the schools was upbeat and well-informed about why they were there and what they were doing. And I'm really proud to be a part of this school district and see the effort that's put into events like that. Thank you.
No, you don't get round two, Ms. Gordon. I say what? You get one shot at it.
Oh, I know you guys too.
I just want to once again, Chris and Audrey, the videos, I'm just loving. It's telling our story, and every month I'm going to praise for telling our story, because this is something that we have asked for a long time, and I just greatly appreciate it. And to all the schools, as the others who attended the career fair said, I mean, the energy at each school's table, and it was just the heart and Hartsville. There was just a lot. You could just tell that the teachers and the staff that were there and the principals were vested in promoting, not only their school but Darlington County. And so it's another good day. So I appreciate all the effort and work that went into that. And that's all I have to say with that. We have our personnel actions. I'll take a motion to approve our personnel actions.
Madam Chair, I move to accept the personnel action recommendations.
Can I get a second? Before we go to a vote, I do have a question. There are a lot of J1 visas that we've got lots of people who won't be with us next year because it looks like we've got expiration of the J1 visas. Can you speak to that for us?
We do have, but we also have about 80-something H-1Bs.
Okay.
That even though you have to look at it differently going forward, we're bringing those back. So.
Just for those that don't know, the difference between the J1 and the H-1Bs.
The J1s are cultural exchange teachers who are usually limited to 3 or 5 years. The H-1Bs are a different class of visa, and those typically are working towards a perm or green card towards citizenship. It's the first step in that process. The current state of immigration and U.S. policy has also shifted, where there are much higher fees for bringing in new H-1Bs from out of the country, which will make that cost prohibitive for the district going forward to bring new H-1Bs from outside of the country. But these J-1s who are cycling off are the ones who have completed their time in Darlington County, or in the U.S. really, on the cultural exchange visa. And they are accounted for in that 12 that Dr. Hersey spoke about too, for next year, those 12 vacancies that we're looking at.
Okay.
Right. And so, and I think we're fortunate, we have about 80-something H-1Bs. And we are, by law, we have to look at U.S. citizens first before we consider that. But if you noticed at the career fair, we had quite a few that were very interested in H-1Bs. And some of those were very critical areas. Like we had a number of folks that were mathematics majors. We had some that were special ed. So when we hit that point, we still are in a position that we can look at them if it's a critical position that we're unable to fill from the pool of teachers that we have available.
Okay.
So they've been an important part. And I think the other thing is we're going for, we're having to look at already at 10% or less of our faculty and can be non-certified personnel. And we are we want to stay well under that, even though we have a waiver for 10%. But there are times when it is a critical area and someone with an H-1B might be able to fill that position. So we're taking it on a case-by-case basis. But I think we're in very good shape, especially given the fact that we have a bit of overage right now when we look at allocations. And that puts us in a very favorable position, I think. So it's a good thing. And I have to say this, I have to credit Dr. Mason for the recruitment fair because she worked very hard on that and the entire team in HR. I just kind of arrived late on the scene and got to enjoy it, and I do enjoy it. And I thank you guys for showing up for this. Great.
Thank you. All right, so all in favor of the personnel actions? Anyone opposed? Motion carries. That moves us to an executive session.
Madam Chairman, I move that we go into executive session to discuss personnel matters and contractual matters.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor? Anyone opposed? Motion carries. We'll move into executive. I'll entertain a motion to come out of executive session.
I move to come out of executive session.
I could second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And there you go. We are out of executive session. I'll entertain any motions now that we have coming out of executive session.
Madam Chair, I make a motion to approve the superintendent's recommendation for the director of DCIT.
Can I get a second?
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. I'll entertain a motion. Are there any other motions that coming out of executive session?
That's it.
Okay. If not, then I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move to adjourn.
Second?
I second.
All in favor? Motion carries. We are adjourned.